lives, their businesses, and their passions. We also have had hundreds of thriving women that have been featured on this podcast. Continuing this important effort, Thrive Loud with Lou Diamond, Success.com, and Clubhouse have joined together to create a special series called Elevating the Brilliant Minds of Women. You'll get a chance to learn about these incredible initiatives of women across the globe, hear about how they are thriving, and how you can connect with them today. Enjoy this amazing conversation, and after the episode, learn more about this powerful initiative.
You're right. I did lose $1 million last year. I expect to lose $1 million this year. I expect to lose $1 million next year. You know, Mr. Diamond, at that rate of $1 million a year, I'll have to close this place in 60 years.
Get ready to thrive loud with Lou Diamond.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Thrive Loud with Lou Diamond, connecting you to the most inspiring and amazing people that are thriving each and every day. I'm your host, Lou Diamond. Today on Thrive Loud, we have a pain management anesthesiologist turned music producer and health coach, because that happens every day, people. She has successfully navigated the journey past her fear of change and uncertainty to pursue her lifelong passion for music. She creates music for healing, relaxation, and is a curator of uplifting messages. On our continued program of elevating the brilliant minds of women, Thrive Loud listeners, I bring you Candice Williams. Candice, how are you today?
I'm doing awesome. How are you?
I'm with you, so nothing can be wrong right here. I get to deal with pain management and music. This is like two of my favorite activities.
So random, right?
Some random things. Okay, so do a little rewind here for our listeners. This is an interesting background, right? So obviously you're an anesthesiologist, you're a doctor, and something may have changed or something directed you in guiding you towards your passion to music. Can you give a little bit of that journey? I don't want to go all the way back to the womb. I just want to go when that part really happened. Sound good?
I got you. So what it was basically is just that I've been a musician kind of like my whole life. But once I reached the point of being into my career, I noticed that I was suppressing it. And for most doctors, a lot of doctors play instruments, but for most of them, it's cool to be a hobby. But I noticed that something was wrong because someone would say, oh, yeah, you play keyboards as a hobby. And I would get so angry. I would be like livid, like, how dare you call that a hobby? And so I knew it was really my passion. But, you got the kids, you got the husband, you got, the house and the mortgage and all those things. So I was really reluctant to make it anything more than that. And I just kept getting more and more depressed. They call it burnout or what have you, but I was like burnt to crispy toast, just charred.
How many, Candace, how many years had you been practicing when you started to get to that threshold?
About 8.
8 years.
About 8 years. So between anesthesiology and pain management, 8 years back and forth between the two. This point, I was back in the operating room, and it just reached ahead to the point where I was like, I'm going to take a month off. I really, you hear that voice say, take a month off, sabbatical. And my boss at the time was great. She was like, sure, we'll arrange it for you. And so the week that I was planning to do that, one of my patients had a very, very bad outcome.
Okay.
And that was just the straw for me emotionally. The straw for me, because I really do care for people deeply. Like I really, I'm a regular person. I'm not an automaton. People assume doctors are automatons and they, don't have feelings. I'm a real person. And that for me was like final straw. Like, listen, I got to take time off. I didn't have a plan. It wasn't like a plan like, oh yeah, I have all this money stacked in the bank. Nope. Didn't have a plan. But all I knew is that I could not keep going down this path. I was having, existential thoughts and, oh, it's better if I wasn't here. And I was like, oh no, I can't keep going in this direction. So that's what prompted me to just, switch gears and literally open up a computer DAW, and open up Logic Pro X for the first time and start making music I'd never done before.
Well, yeah, so that's what I was going to ask. Obviously, you've loved music, but producing music is a skill unto itself. So this
correct.
Was a learned activity.
I played piano, right? I played an instrument. So it's not like I started from zero. I played an instrument, but I never made an idea like from nothing, from the air, right? And brought something together as a real thing. And so, of course, I trial and errored and made things and let friends hear it. And they were like, oh, boy, Candice, you got to work on this, you know. So I have some good musician. I had good musician and engineering friends that gave me a little guidance of, oh, you may want to do this or that. And so that first batch of songs, it was about 10 of them that came pretty quickly. I'd never written music before. But about 10 of them probably in the first few months. That batch was pretty bad. But I tell people, you know, that was the seeds for what I would write later, right? Yep. You kind of have to like get the ideas out. So that's what started it.
So let's go down this. The type of music that you create, or even the stuff that you started creating then, was it of a specific genre? Was it in the
right? So that was the other weird thing. All of this time I was raised more like in a gospel environment, and my family members are like top producers in gospel music, you know, on TV, all that. And the music that I was making was nothing like that. First of all, that was the surprise. It was more. First, it was Christian music, but then it morphed into more instrumental themes or like thematic music. And then the other side of it is that I had two other friends that we were supposed to do a show. It's right when COVID-19 shut everything down last year. We were going to do like a jazz oriented show with poetry. And we were going to, it was by Jasmine Colbert had the show, and she was going to honor Black women poets. Okay. And it got shut down. So we decided, well, maybe we should make a little song to be representative. And that actually morphed into a song about the beauty of Black people. It's called Black Beauty. So that's more like hip hop soul. So I'm still working on that project too. So I have like two parallel tracks, like instrumental healing relaxation music, and then more of the, when I say uplifting messages, that's what I mean. Like messages to celebrate Black culture, messages to celebrate the future, like youth, things of that nature.
Candice, how much do you think your work in anesthesiology and getting people to relax and pain management bled into the type of music that you were creating? Like, you know, maybe you needed to be in that field to get in the space of the music you were creating?
Right. Absolutely. You know, what's interesting about that is I've always thought of music as like the other side of healing, like healing people without the needle, because I was very good at epidurals, like 3 minutes, you know, in and out, you know, or radio frequency ablation. I know it's a long term, but those types of procedures. And I saw it as the other way to get people to, it really is, you know, you're altering your brain chemistry there, right? When you're meditating and when you're dampening those pain signals. So it probably did unconsciously, right, take a certain level of understanding of that, then to get myself personally in that zone of what would it sound like to relax. It's almost like, what does it sound like in my mind to have an atmosphere? It's really, I look at it as creating a moment, right, where it takes that person away mentally. And what does that sound like? And then going into how to recreate that musically. It's been a journey.
I love it. When you're piecing it together, obviously I keep thinking about, you're talking about those first 10 tracks, which you probably would use a less kind word for what it was like, or other people might have. And now you find that you actually have a process that you go through. Can you share maybe with the listeners, like how you engage and start to say, how am I going to do this? Is it something, an idea, a sound? I love talking to producers to get a feel for what gets you going.
Sometimes it's a sound. You could be playing around, right, in Apple Loops or hearing a sound somewhere and go, that, and then you hear something around that. So that sometimes it's that. And I would say that more so bleeds into more like the hip hop soul music. Usually I hear a sound and say, oh, I hear something. And then that makes me bob my head. So I want to make that moment. But with the relaxation music, sometimes it's nature sounds, ocean sounds, rain. Sometimes it's a mood for me. And other times I try to explain this to my husband because he's a drummer, right? So he plays a part in this too, because he keeps me on track rhythmically, like literally in life and in everything else.
He keeps you on beat.
He does literally. Yeah. But I was trying to explain to him that our respective writing processes are different. His is based on playing. So he'll play something out and play a rhythm, and that'll jar something for him. For me, I hear music in total. I don't know how to explain that, but I hear an entire moment.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my gosh. Okay, so first, I always start with piano or the core, whatever's going to be core, guitar. Whatever the core will be, I start with that, and then I build around it. But it is, sometimes it feels overwhelming because it is a bunch of layers, right? I just hear it all in block, and then I have to go recreate it.
I love asking that question, Candace, because I interview a ton of authors, and I love asking them about their writing process. So, whatever content is being created, I'm trying to understand maybe what stimulates them or what work environment they're in or what the state of mind they need to be in. And it's great to hear that musicians are doing the same thing. You've got your own way to get into it. How do you feel now about the music you produce versus those earlier days?
I feel a whole lot better. I mean, I think my friends have given me some thumbs up here and there, some better feedback.
Talk to your friends. You have tough critics.
Oh, but that's good.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm in LA. Come on. I mean, I know some top producers, so they're not going to mince words. So I like that though, because I know that we're really friends, right? Outside of this, they were my friend when they thought I was just the doctor, if that makes any sense.
Yep.
So, that's helpful. How I feel now, it's kind of surreal what you can do in a year and how far you can progress. I do like to emphasize though that I also invested in myself a couple times when I didn't really have to invest. I'll be honest, in a number of realms. But in music, I took a course that had to do with mixing, and most people send out to master. I would say that's just across the board. So mastering, I send out. But mixing, I wanted to learn it for at least the basics so I could get a decent mix, because you can't really tell how good. I mean, you can have great ideas, but if it's mixed poorly, it's still not going to come over well. So I had to invest in myself in that. And that still takes practice. That's the ongoing thing of developing your ears and really comparing it, comparing your tracks to other tracks in a similar genre, really trying to say, okay, is this what I'm going for? And so, I feel a lot better about it now that I've kind of invested a little bit of time, effort, and energy in developing certain skills. But a year, it's worlds and away from what I was doing last year. So I'm happy. I mean, I'm proud of it, but I know I still have some ways to go. Just like any artist of any sort is going to tell you that, right?
Yeah. No, I was just going to say, as you were investing in yourself, we listened to some of the earlier episodes of this podcast, and we're hundreds of episodes in, thousands of listeners later. And we looked and said, wow, we produce better now than we did back then. And that was probably a lot of the investment in understanding what sounds right, what's the flow, how the show opening, silly stuff we do on here. And obviously the quality of the conversation, getting amazing people like you, the content, which really matters, making sure it pops. I love asking this question to all the guests on the program, Candace. You're a medical professional. You've got your music. And actually, before I go to this question, wait, hold on. Let's ask this one. How are you feeling now in your work that you got the music interplayed into what you're doing?
Medical work? Is that what you're asking?
But just in the work you're doing and your general happiness. How are you feeling?
Oh my gosh. I'm a different person. Like literally a different individual. I knew something was wrong when people were saying, man, you seem happy. What's wrong with you? So I was like, was I really that bad? They were like, yeah, you were pretty miserable to be around. And you know what? I mean, to be honest, that's how you know people really love you.
Yeah, that's so true.
To tell you the truth. And so, I see the difference in my demeanor. I am, believe it or not, an introverted person. Yeah. This is something, being on this podcast is something that the old me would have been like, no, thank you. So I've changed in a lot of different ways. And a lot of it, I think, has to do with just the core happiness and moving my life towards the things that I was saying I wanted. I think having that disconnect when you dream of something at night and then you wake up and do something that's totally the opposite, and you do that for years on end, it just, that cognitive dissonance, as they call it, it wears on your soul. Yeah. And so now, I started moving things in the direction. I wanted to be around my children. I actually like my spouse. I hate to say that, but I like them, and I want to keep and stay in a relationship with them. So therefore I had to, move some things so we could see each other. I mean, It seems really simple, but we both made sacrifices and choices that I know a lot of people are afraid to do. But we did those things because we wanted to make our home more family centric. Then COVID came. This is all before COVID. Then COVID came and we were really together.
Then you really had to work on it, right?
Correct.
Candace, it's true. First of all, what I started to say that we love asking guests on this program this question, and I think you just nailed it as you were saying it, but let's hit it home. You're thriving in what you're doing right now. The way people are seeing you, the way you're relaxing, the music you're making. This is what we love about people on Thrive Loud, those that are thriving in their lives, their businesses, and their passions. But as you know, we all have days when we're not quite kicking on all cylinders. On those days, what practice do you seek, or what individual do you seek out to get yourself back on the thriving track?
That's an awesome question. I love that. I do daily. I have a daily routine. I have a nightly routine, but I have a daily routine. In my daily routine, I wake up smiling. I try to move a little bit. I'm not the most fit person, but I've lost 46 pounds during this pandemic. Wow. So I'm a lot more fit than I was before. And I make either, because I don't always get all of them done, either quiet time and meditation or walking and listening to something motivational. Like, I love Miles Monroe. Yeah. I love Miles Monroe. Like, that's a daily thing. So I'm always resetting myself that I'm a leader, that I have purpose, right? And putting that in my ear. And then I make affirmations for the day. Even if it's a few random things I say to myself in the shower, if I'm multitasking, I really want to reset my brain every day so that when I have a low day, then it's still buffered by those things I said, like I remind myself of those things that I said. So I totally get that, because it's not on all cylinders, right? Yeah, every day.
Absolutely. Let's do this. Let's do the admin part of the show, and then we'll get to some fun stuff here. Not that we haven't been having fun since the very beginning. Candace, share with the listeners all the places people can find you, websites, URLs, social media handles. We will put it all in the show notes, but it always gets more engagement when they hear it right from you.
Awesome. So I'm on Facebook at, I just get so confused. Candice Will, Will, and then the number 8. And that's because there's a lot of Candice Williams out there. So, my maiden name is a lot more unique, but once I change the name over to Williams, it's like there's a million Candice Williamses out there. Dr. Candice Williams is Instagram.
Okay.
Same thing for Twitter. I believe is at Dr. Candice Will, maybe, or at Dr. Candice Will. I also have LinkedIn, I believe it should be Dr. Candice Williams. Same thing. I mean, if you Dr. Candice Williams, pretty much everywhere. People can also have a link tree as well.
Yeah.
Which is like link.
And has all the links there. We can do it.
Yeah, has all the links. Dr. Candice Will. And so, I try to be on most channels. I think I'm mostly active on between Twitter, Facebook, some on Instagram.
Okay.
Those 3. LinkedIn, I'm there though. I answer messages and things on LinkedIn.
And we also connected on Clubhouse, you and I. So that's actually
we sure did. And you know what? I'm off and on with Clubhouse.
Yeah. Well,
I got on before a lot of the doctors. It's so funny. The doctors are like the second and third wave of people.
Yep.
So they're like, "Oh, are you on Clubhouse?" I was like, "I've been on there." Some musician let me in, like when it first started. You can lose your life in there.
Oh, yeah.
You could be on there for years.
Well, so we get a little more focused, what we do, and our listeners will get a chance to connect with you directly. The week this episode drops, you're going to be in Clubhouse that week. We're going to do a fun little live featuring you. That's actually how we do it. So we're going to draw all these people in that want to have it, including all those doctors who are late to the game and the musicians who came early on. We'll bring them all in. We'll have a fun little party. Okay. Ready to go down Fun Street, Candace?
Yes, I'm excited.
I'm so excited to do this because in the 600 plus episodes of Thrive Loud, you were the first to select a movie that I love for many, many reasons. But can you share with the listeners your all-time favorite movie?
Oh, it's Coming to America. I mean, hands down, so.
We're recording this mid-March 2021. 15 days ago, they just dropped the sequel to this movie.
Right.
You also saw the sequel?
I did. And so I answered this question before. Mm-hmm. I wasn't even worried about the sequel at the time. And it was actually my husband that was like, it's coming out. And I have a wonderful, wonderful friend from my church. Her name is Lydia Renee. I'm shouting her out because she sung To Be Loved on Coming to America too.
Get out of here. Awesome. That was amazing. Yeah. That was spectacular. We loved that. Well, that whole, I have to say, they certainly didn't leave a stone untouched. They brought back everything from the original movie.
Everything.
Even the twins. Even the twins.
I was like, wow. Like, I don't, social media is so funny because you'll see people like, I didn't like it. I didn't this. I'm like, come on. The fact that they were able to bring back, they brought some, well, of course, some new actors and actresses in it, but they were able to tie all the references. It made it funny, and they actually gave it a plot and a storyline. Like, I really liked the storyline. It was good stuff, and they brought back the original Lisa. I forgot her name. The actress. Oh yeah,
she was good too. They did a good job.
I think they did. I mean, it's sometimes it's so hard to remake a movie.
Yeah,
I was kind of low key scared because for me that's like a childhood. No, it wasn't when I was a child, but it's kind of like one of those all time favorites up there with Color Purple for me.
Yeah.
Okay. But Color Purple is a little more serious, right? So this is like more fun. And so I'm thinking, oh man, I don't want it to be ruined.
But they didn't. No. I think if anything, and first of all, I mean, just to see Eddie come back as as
the comedic genius of those two together and the comedic type. It was awesome. It
was really good. Arsenio really never had the massive movie career I think that we all wanted him to, I guess, but hey, he's still who he is. He'll always be Simi.
I love Arsenio. He'll still be Simi. He'll still be Whoop Whoop. Arsenio Hall. Those of us that watch that.
Yep.
So.
We're glad we got to do it. Okay, here's how we go in the speed round of Fun Street, Candace. What I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you a question, and I want the first thing that pops in your head. And these are things that are supposed to make you feel good, lift you up, make you thrive. That's the idea. Okay. Let's do it in an area that you're probably pretty familiar with. A song that you love to hear or that pumps you up.
I'm going to say We Are the Champions.
Oh, wow. I like it. Favorite food that's not a dessert.
Since I've been on this diet, I'm like, oh my gosh. Favorite fruit that's not a dessert. I would say I don't eat it though. It's French fries.
Oh, okay. Favorite dessert?
Cheesecake.
An activity you wish you did more of?
Hiking.
An activity you wish you did less of?
I can't.
Oh, yes, you
parenting?
That is spectacular. I get you. Candace, if I snap my fingers and you could go anywhere in the world, where are you?
Mauritius.
Oh, very nice. Have you been?
No, I have a patient. See, the perks of being a doctor sometimes is like your patients tell you about things. And I had a patient who was from there. And when I said they went on and on and on. So I had to look at I said, well, I have to look at this place. And my husband went to Mozambique on a tour.
Gotcha.
And so I was really jealous because he got a lot closer to it than I've ever been. So It's a bucket list place. So I hope to make it there soon.
Candice Williams, with all those social media handles that we will put down in writing so that people can find it wherever they might be. Continue to be thriving loud. Continue to keep all the stuff going on. And thank you so much for elevating the brilliant minds of the world here by doing what you do every day.
It's totally awesome.
And to all our listeners out there, thank you for joining us. And until next time, keep thriving onward and upward. And remember, be brief, be bright, be gone.
Thanks for listening to this special episode of Thrive Loud with Lou Diamond, brought to you by Success.com and Thrive Loud. To learn more about this great program and elevating the brilliant minds of women, head on over to thriveloud.com or Success.com. And make sure to follow Lou at Thrive Loud everywhere on social media to learn more about this special series. Thanks for listening.